Hi. I just want to take a few seconds and check you out, because I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting 50 years for America's future leaders to show up, and here you are. For 40 years, people have asked me, Richard, is it too late? Can we turn things around? Have we gone too far down the road to socialism to ever get back to the vision of our founders? And I've always had the same answer, just one answer. And that answer is we have one chance, and one chance only, to save America. And that is if things get real bad real quick. We all know the story of the frog in the boiling water. Well, guess what? The water in America is boiling, and millions of Americans are jumping out. And that may give us a chance to save America. Because in my opinion, they're not as bad, obviously, as an Obama, Pelosi, Reid, but we were lost as a country under the Bob Doles, the George Bushes of the world, the John McCains. We were going to lose America. It might take 20, 30 years, but we were going to lose America, okay? But now, and we may lose America now in 3 or 4 years, but we also have a chance to save everything. You may speak here? Okay. This may give us a chance to turn everything around. God may have given us one more chance. And it's all because of you, and combined with Obama's outrageous policies. The number one mistake that conservatives have made in the last maybe 15 years is that they became an appendage, an arm of the Republican Party. And my wife's a big fan of Dr. Phil, and he has these people on television there, and one of the two people are engaged in really destructive behavior, and he says, how's that behavior working for you? Well, not very well. It wouldn't be on national television. So I say to conservatives, how's that behavior of just, blind loyalty to the Republican Party working for us? Not very well, okay? Now, that was our number one mistake. We became an appendage of the Republican Party. Number one need that we have going forward is new leadership, mostly younger leadership. I think of the conservative cause, the small government cause, the constitutionalist cause, as equivalent to the biblical Jews who had to wander through the desert for 40 years until that generation of failed, flawed leaders had passed from the scene. That's true of conservatives. We're not going to get to the political promised land as long as we are led by the Republican leaders that are there now. John Boehner, Mitch McConnell, Lamar Alexander. I'm sure they'd make really good next-door neighbor, best friends, But America doesn't like them. And then you can throw that in that pot. McCain, Bushes, Karl Rove, Tom DeLay, Denny Hastert, Bill Frist, 20% of Americans today identify with the Republican Party. 20%. 40% say they're conservatives. What does that tell you? They don't like the leadership. So we're not going to get to that political promised land until we get new leadership. And some of it with Keith Fenneman back there is, I'm getting tired, Keith. I need for you to hurry up and get to Congress so people my age can rest here. Reagan in 1976 had a wonderful line, and it really applies today as well as it did in 1976. And the line was, we need new leadership, and this was his word, unfettered by old ties, old relationship. I have a good friend who's a national conservative leader, goes to Mass at St. Peter's down in Rappahannock County with me every Sunday morning, and last Sunday was Coffee Sunday, and so we were talking afterwards, and he's getting ready to make a speech before a large gathering of conservative leaders in Philadelphia soon, and he was talking about how difficult it is to change things, even if the conservatives are in power, because people who have been in Washington for a while, or those in the state capitol, they are fettered by old relationships and old ties. And that is thing that, as much as anything, is so refreshing about the Tea Party movement. You will govern unfettered by these ties. Now, you hang around long enough, you might have a problem too, but hopefully you will be more principled than the leadership that we have now. Back in the mid-'70s, for about 8 years, 8, 10, 12 of the top conservative leaders in the country would gather at our home in McLean for breakfast every Wednesday. Ed Fulton of the Heritage Foundation, Paul Wyrick, Howard Phillips, Ron Godwin of the Moral Majority, Morton Blackwell, and others. And then we'd work with 15, 20 of our colleagues around the country who didn't live in the area. And then there was a period of time we'd meet for dinner in the evening with the same people for breakfast, this time with the backbenchers in Congress. Newt Gingrich, Vin Weber, Bob Walker, Hal Dobbs, others, young Turks there. And to the extent there was anything that could be classified as Hillary's vast right-wing conspiracy, that would have been it. But what we did, we literally said this over and over, and we said it so long to ourselves, we began to believe it. We said it to others, the national media, the political community, and after a while everybody bought into it. And the idea was this, that those of us around that table, and our 15, 20 and other leaders, friends around the country, we were the alternative to Jimmy Carter in the White House. We were the alternative to the Democrats in the Congress, not Bill Brock at the Republican National Committee or Hugh Scott or Howard Baker in the Senate there, but it was us. Now, fast forward 30 years, that's where we are today. You are the alternative to Obama, Pelosi, and Reid. It is not the Republicans in Congress. Where were they last February, March, April, May? Their silence was deafening, and it was the Tea Party's movement starting in February of '09, and added to, with Glenn Beck and Rush and Levin and the bloggers out there, the internet, etc. And then the Republicans came lately to the party, and they're doing a decent job these days on health care, and that's great. But they had to be brought along, and you provided that leadership. So think of yourself as the alternative to Obama and the Democrats. It is not the Republicans, because if it had been left up to the Republicans, Obama would have signed his health care, not in the August recess, in July. It would have gone through very quickly. And we'd probably be living with cap and trade now, and maybe card check. Illegal alien amnesty may have happened, who knows what else. But it didn't happen because of you. And you have to think of yourself as the leader, as the opposition to the Democrats, not the Republicans. I've been around a long time. No secret to anybody here. In the late 50s, I'm chairman of Harris County, Houston Young Republicans, and I hear back in those days my seniors, elders in the party, talking about media bias. Yeah, and that was true, and I believed it then, and it's true obviously today. But I began to think, just because nobody attended our press conference, covered our press releases, how does that advance us the ball down the field? So what happened at some point, I began to think in terms of adopting the Catholic Charities motto, the Christophers, which is don't curse the darkness, light a candle. And so in those days, if this were the microphones of the country, our message went up against a blockage. We couldn't get through NBC, ABC, New York Times, Time Magazine, etc. So starting with direct mail, we went around that blockage right into people's homes, and followed in late 80s by talk radio, then cable television, and the internet. And the new and alternative media has changed everything. It's leveled the playing field. We're competitive in a way that we would have never been competitive back 30, 40 years ago.